Hey, what's up, Palm Tree? What's up, Protectors? Happy Friday, or whenever you're watching this. Wanted to do a quick video update and kind of follow up on what I was talking about last night. First of all, doing a lot better, feeling a lot better, kind of got, semi down in the dumps just over what I explained in the last video. But I had a couple really good conversations in light of that with like Paisley and Omaya and Rizzy and Coco and all the people who are Protector squad in the cabinet. I'm thinking about calling the crew of content creators I really mess with, like the Poontang clan and like Foxy Box and all these people. I had a cool number of exchanges with a lot of the creators I rock with, but that's not even why I wanted to hop on here and talk. What I wanted to explain, and this is a long overdue video, what I wanted to break down to you guys is, for the Palm Tree, you guys may have noticed, there is a lot less artist interviews coming out on this channel. Why? Well, I'm going to explain something to you guys. I've been doing Palm for 8 years. It's a long time. It's long enough. And, you know what? Them 8 years I wouldn't trade for the world. There's a lot of things I could have did better. There's a lot of things I could have done differently to be more successful. But I put in 8 years, man. And truth be told, it's all about elevation. And I think with Thiccness protection program coming along, the interview side of my content, that lane is now occupied by TPP. And quite frankly, is that from experience, I'm really noticing that there's a little more of an honor code amongst the porn creators who I interview rather than the music artists who I was interviewing, where it's kind of like this, I'm interviewing, it was independent from the music side and independent from the XXX side too, for the most part, but there's a little bit more of okay, if I ask you to do something on social media and you do porn, you're gonna do it. Versus if you're an artist, well, it's going to come down to what does your manager say or what does your label say. And then number two is that the creators I'm interviewing from the XXX side usually have a bigger social media following than the artists who I would be sitting down with, right? So, it only makes sense to interview people who are going to bring more fruit to my platform, right? And me singing the praises of an artist doesn't always equate to that artist's fans following me, right? And same goes for a porn creator. That's not always the case either. But generally, when my taste for the music was eclectic, it never was like, oh, I'm all artists who belong in the same lane. And also another big thing, part of this I noticed that is as far as hip hop in LA, and I say this all the time, I'm not an LA hip hop blogger, but I always root for the home team and I stand shoulder to shoulder with the LA hip hop platforms. Like I said, A Day in LA or Giggles Irene and Underground Magazine. I was just texting Pofsky yesterday. I'm noticing that the rappers I want to interview are going to much bigger platforms. I should be sitting down with Larry June. I should be sitting down with Jay Worthy. I should be sitting down with O3 Greedo. I should be sitting down with OGZ. But they're at Power 106. They're at Spotify. They're at Rolling Stone. Now here's the point where you say, well, Dylan, why don't you go get a job at one of those places? That's an option. That's something that should happen as well, right? But I don't like this word deserve. And people might want to say, well, you deserve to, have a big interview. Don't just go to Afro Man's show, sit down with the man. And these are things that I believe should happen. But right now, because I have my hands full with so many other things, is that I have not applied the pressure to be like, okay, I'm gonna get that big artist interview. And quite frankly, an artist interview is I've been, watching that and seeing that and doing those for 10 years. This journalism thing has to evolve for me, and Thiccness protection program gave me the opportunity to evolve my craft to service a whole new clientele and bring in a whole new fan base to this channel. Now, this is still a struggling YouTube channel, right? So think about it. The rappers who I was coming across were just not really bringing the fruit I needed to the channel, you know? And yeah, we had some cool interviews last year. You know, the Ray Wright one was dope. The Illa one was dope. And even Walt Mansa, you know, somebody who I consider a friend, that was just cool to have a cool conversation with a dope dude, and he makes fire music. But again, when I service the underground, it is not a great service to me personally if I'm spending all this time editing and promoting an interview with somebody who is not necessarily going to hold up the end of the deal because they're busy making music. It's not really meant to be compared against the XXX industry, but it's just like, over time I've gotten better with communicating with people, right? You got to understand that part. So I've gotten better at saying, you know, here are the instructions from afterward once we do the interview, right? But I'm gonna tell you something very real, man. You take two people walk into a room. One is a local unsigned rapper, and the other is an AVN nominated porn star. Who is gonna be the bigger diva? If you bet that it was the fucking porn star, you would be losing all your money to me. I'm telling you, man. Some of these rap niggas is extremely diva-ish. And I'm not trying to say, you know, in the porn game, there's plenty of divas, don't get me wrong. You know, it's sometimes the porn game feel like dating, because you're going to have bitches. You're going to have people who are rude. You're going to have, like, picky, don't ask me this, don't ask me that, you know. And what I like as far as covering the adult business, what I want to hear more is what I call No Strings Nancy. And that's the one where you reach out, I'm down, she does the interview, she's on time, she's prompt, she's fun, and nothing's off limits, right? And that's usually the case, you know. Sometimes with the rappers, it's just so like, I predominantly interview rappers, but I really wanted to expand to more like musicians in general. You know, I like indie and alternative, and I really wanted to get some of them more on my platform too. But I don't think enough had been involved. Hold on one second. Yes? Yeah. Oh yeah, you need to get in front of me? Go ahead, no problem. All right, sorry, I'm in traffic. Versus the artist, it was always the conversations, my new album, my new song, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, you be on my dick, promote me, promote me, promote me, promote me. Versus with the, you know, XXX creators, it was like them telling a story, you know. And I'm not saying that artists can't sit down with me and tell a story, but it's like, I'd rather listen to the music and have you tell that story, you know. So what I would want to see come to Palm, if we're going to keep it in the spirit of music, is that, you know, more like freestyles, more ciphers, you know, more chances for me to hear the music rather than, you know, we sit up there for an hour. I don't really want to do that anymore unless it's somebody I really, really fuck with. Like earlier this year, like I met Corrupt, you know, he was cool. I met Omarion same day at that 1500 or Nothing event. And those are the type of artists who, you know, I feel like are in reach. Because you think about, the next music interview I do, I want it to be somebody who's like, no matter which side you come from, if you are a protector or you are a palm reader, you gonna know who that is. You know, whether you don't even gotta follow me, instantly you know who that is. You know, and that should go for the XXX side too. That should go for the TPP side. I'm not saying I'm going to interview Drake or anything. No, that would be spectacular. Just to sum it up in total, man, you got to bring value to my platform. And let's be honest, not all of the artists who have been interested in interviews with me were bringing that, you know. And then I would have a little more drama with the artists as far as like, you know, sometimes labels would want things taken down, and then they want artist wants an interview deleted from years ago. I'm like, dog, that is from 2015, 16, 17. Ain't nobody even reading that right now. but they still got to take it down because they're going through a rebranding. And then here I am. I spent all this time editing, posting, writing, promoting the interview, and then poof, they want it down. So now, and it's still like I gotta feed into your ego thing, no matter what. But I just feel like with the XXX side, there's more. This lane is only occupied by so many individuals. There's a million people interviewing artists, dude. So many, and after the kind of fall of No Jumper and the dissolving of No Jumper, I feel like, what, that lane is very much like, okay, yeah, take it off. I'm proud to see all of these content creators pop up, and they want to do interviews and do hip-hop coverage, and everybody brings their own sauce, whether you're doing hood vlogs or you're doing I don't know, you're getting, like, what's the thing that All Dev did where they have the kids like sit with the rapper and then they draw. There's plenty of content segments out there that involve music artists, but there are not that many content segments out there that involve BBW porn stars. And here's where Thiccness Protection Program comes in. Okay, so bottom line, I don't mean to offend anybody, and if you got offended by this, you can go fuck yourself. No, I'm just playing. But bottom line is, hey, you know what? 8 years, man. 8 years of them Palm interviews, bro. And it's like, I'm not saying I'm good on that, because, bro, there's still so many dope artists who I've grown up on who I want to talk to, man. I'm about to reach out to Rhyme Sayers and get Slug on here again. And yes, I interviewed him once back in the day, but that was for Hip Hop DX, and that wasn't even on camera. But we need that one for show. There's a lot more I could think of. Like, comment below who you want to see me interview, but like, just know we ain't doing no little what's his face. I ain't interviewing your cousin because he rap. No, it's like gotta be like, oh, you heard of that person, and they would make sense on this platform. All right, peace, love, Palm. And another part of this, guys, is don't think this is like open season on rappers. Oh, like all of a sudden Dylan don't fuck with no rappers no more. It's not that at all. It's just that, like, here's the thing with me being a hip hop kid and in a hip hop generation and being a student of hip hop, it's like when I want to branch out and, do my indie artist interviews and do my alternative artist interviews and want to sit up there with, some bands and whatnot, I may not always get those opportunities. One, could it be because of the color of my skin? Possibly. But it's like, two is like, because when I'm speaking in a hip-hop vernacular, some of those managers of the alternative bands may not really be going for that, and they want more pitchfork and less smack DVD. So it comes down to that. And then sometimes with the producers who want to get interviews, yeah, I'm open to that as well, because I have a cool relationship with a few good producers who produce beats for people I work with and produce beats for artists I like, right? But here's the thing about producers that, like, bloggers don't always sit well with, is that producers really just want to produce. They just want to make beats. And there's nothing wrong with that, man. Go do your job, make your beats, get your money. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that in terms of the content I'm able to make, I'll give you an example. So in terms of the content that I'm able to make, like with the one I did with Ochoa, me and him have been cool for a couple of years, prior to me and him sitting down in like February, I think. So yeah, we have been cool for a couple of years at that point. But with a producer, they don't really have as much to say, because they're really about just making the music. Now, you can have more conversations about the techniques they use to make the beats and the engineering process in some of those studio session stories. Sorry, we got the writer's strike in the background. Like, yeah, you can do good interviews with producers, but there's already platforms. Like, I recommend Pensado's Place, and they do fantastic interviews with producers and engineers and such, because like really the music industry is changing, and in my opinion is definitely changing for the worse. So I'm not saying I'm gonna bow out at this time, but I'm saying from a journalistic standpoint, it's like I'm saying, you know what, maybe I'm taking 2 steps back on that, and then more coverage of the sex industry. And that's just kind of where I am right now mentally with this content, because this is my art too, you feel me? All right, so just had to go add that little 2 cents more into the mix. All right, make sure you guys are subscribed, make sure you're following, and like the video, comment what you want to see more. Peace, love, palm, we want thickness.